All right, Rosie, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to tell a story? I'm ready to tell a story. Let's tell God's story today. You ready? Okay, come here. Sit. Girl. All right, welcome to God's story. My name is Pastor Will, and this is Rosie. We're here today to tell God's story. This is our story, the story of our faith and the story that we were raised on. It's a very special time, and we love to do it in this space because we are surrounded by God's story here in our godly playroom. So, before we begin to tell our story, we always like to start with a song. And we sung our song last week that was Johnny Appleseed, and we're going to sing the song again. If you saw it last week and you know the song, you're welcome to sing with us. If you didn't see it last week, don't worry, we're going to sing it at the end. So, are you ready? Okay, let's do this. Oh, Lord's been good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. The Lord's been good to me. Amen, 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 amen. Oh, amen. All right, that was a lot of fun. So if you sung with me, great. If you didn't, don't worry, we'll sing it again at the end. So this room is a very special room where we keep all of God's stories around us. Everything you see on all the walls, every single wooden piece of fabric, everything, they all are part of how we tell God's story. So today, we're going to tell a different kind of story. This story's a little sad, but it's still a wonderful story of God's love. And the story is found right here. It's kind of a big story today, so we're going to spread this out. Last week, we talked about how God made everything. This big, beautiful world of creation. He made the sun and the rain. He made all of the bushes and the trees and the dry land and the water. He set everything up. And into that, he created us. He created us male. He created us female. Now, the very first man he ever made, his name was Adam. And the very first woman he ever made was Eve. And he set them in a beautiful paradise garden that we call Eden. This was a great place. It had everything they could possibly ever want. All the food, all of the land, everything. It was all right here for them. He said to them, you can take anything you want except for one tree. The tree at the very center of the garden. We call it the tree of good, or the knowledge of good and evil. And he said, whatever you do, don't eat of the fruit of that tree. One day, while Adam was away, an animal came up to Eve. This animal was a snake. This snake was the most crafty of all of the animals. And the snake spoke to Eve and said, you know that tree in the middle? God didn't really mean it. God says he doesn't want you to eat the fruit because he doesn't want you to be as strong and as powerful as God is. Nothing bad will happen to you if you eat it, only good things. And so Eve was convinced, and she came and she ate of the fruit. Later on, After Adam came back, Eve convinced Adam to also have of the fruit. And so they both had eaten of the fruit, and they suddenly realized that they were naked. Don't look at them. They needed to cover themselves. And so they tried to cover themselves, and then they heard something coming into the garden. It was God walking amongst them, and they were afraid. And so they went and they hid behind some bushes, hoping that God would not see them. God came into the garden and said, "Adam, where are you?" And Adam said, "I'm over here. I'm hiding from you." "Why are you hiding from me?" "Well, I'm naked." "Well, who told you you were naked?" "Have you been eating of the fruit of the tree that I told you not to?" Adam said, "Yes." So at this point, Adam and Eve come out from hiding and are standing in front of God. And God pronounces some very mean things, some very, punishment kind of things for them. He says that, "Adam, you're going to toil for the rest of your life, working really hard to get food to come out of the ground. And Eve, you are going to have a lot of pain whenever you have children." And to the snake, he said, "You will no longer have feet, but you will slither on your belly on the ground." And God then cast them out of the garden, out of this paradise of place, and into the wild, wild areas. It seems like God is being very, very mean at this time. But even when God is punishing us, just like our parents do, that doesn't mean that God doesn't love us. God wanted to help Adam and Eve, and so he made them clothes for them to cover themselves with, so that they would no longer be naked. We call this story the story of the fall. Whenever we finish our stories, we always like to ask ourselves some questions, some things to help us wonder what we saw in our story. Today, I wonder, what was your favorite part of this story? I wonder where you see yourself in this story. Have you ever been like Eve, been tricked by somebody else into doing something? Have you ever been like God and been disappointed by someone else's actions? Have you ever been like the snake and tried to convince someone else to do something different? Do you ever feel like you are a tree, just a bystander in something that is happening? Where do you see yourself in the story? I wonder what we could have left out and still had all of the story that we need. All right, we're going to finish up by singing our song one more time. So do you guys remember our Johnny Appleseed song? So you guys get ready? Gotta loosen up. All right. Oh, the Lord's been good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. The Lord's been good to me. Amen, 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 amen. Amen. All right, thank you so much for joining us. And remember, God loves you. Bye.